Hi everybody, I'm Jim Harvley of Harvley Architecture in Greenville, South Carolina. Welcome to episode 2 of our web series, Experiencing Architecture. The purpose of this series is to give you a better understanding of the process involved when a commercial building is built or renovated. If you like to watch TV, you know there are plenty of reality shows on residential construction, but this series is for commercial buildings and it's quite a different story. For this series, we are following the process of building a new retail building designed by Harvley Architecture in this busy section of Ridges Road in Greenville, South Carolina. As you can see in the background, the contractor is almost finished installing the steel beams, columns, and roof support. But here's what's been happening in previous weeks. Once demolition had been completed, the contractor started excavating the ground for the concrete footings for the exterior walls and the columns that will support the roof. Once that was completed, steel bars were placed in the ground for the footings. The purpose of these steel bars, typically called rebars, is to provide strength and help support the load from the roof by absorbing and distributing the tension that is caused when concrete expands and contracts due to climate variations. In other words, it helps keep the concrete from breaking apart. Now, when the concrete is first poured, we know it's in a mud-like form and then it hardens to reach its first strength over the next 28 days. Before we can pour it into the ground, we have to take a few samples from the first delivery truck and do a test. The concrete is placed into these cans and then left in the shade for the next 24 hours. The next day, the concrete testing company will pick these up and take them to the lab for testing at 7 days, 14 days, 21 days, and 28 days. By the 28th day, the concrete should show a minimum compressive strength of 3,000 pounds per square inch. Since work continues while we're waiting for the results, if the final test number is somewhat below the 3,000 mark, they may have to tear everything out and start over. But in 98% of the time, the results are fine. In another on-site test, concrete is poured into these cylinders. The cylinders are then turned upside down and removed. We then watch for a few minutes as it settles and slumps. As long as it does not slump more than 3 to 4 inches, then it's okay. If it slumps more than that, then that could mean that too much water was added to the mix and it cannot be used. Concrete blocks are placed around the perimeter of the building and that keeps the concrete from flowing past the boundaries. The steel rebars will be bent 90 degrees down to extend into the concrete slab before it is poured. Once the cone test is completed, the concrete is poured into the trenches using this pump truck. The concrete is transferred from the delivery truck to the pump truck, and then by using the extended hose, the builder is able to pour the concrete to just about anywhere on the site. The next step is to prepare the ground area for the concrete floor slab. Once the ground is leveled out, the contractor places about 4 inches of crushed gravel in the area to be covered by the concrete floor slab. This gravel serves a number of purposes, the main one being to keep any underground water from reaching the bottom of the slab. Once the preparation of the building pad is completed, the concrete floor slab can be installed. This concrete is delivered and tested pretty much the same way as the footings. Here you can see the workers busy leveling and finishing the concrete with an assortment of equipment. Now this slab was poured a few weeks ago. The next step is to install the steel beam, columns, and roof support. However, thanks to this booming economy, the delivery of the steel was delayed for several weeks. Once the steel did arrive, the contractor used an assortment of equipment, including a crane, to put them in their place. So this is where we are today. The installation of the steel is almost completed. The next step is for the contractor to install the roof deck as well as the metal studs on the outside walls. We will cover that in our next episode. I'm Jim Harvley, and I want to thank you for joining us for this episode of Experiencing Architecture.